Mastermind like checkmate, peep the angles to see how they innovate. And when I got the feeling, I open up the floodgate, go with the flow, channeling those tracks of fate. I peep my energies and what I placed on my plate, watching time, conscious of a brother being late. Time ticks in the pocket, bass riffs in the kick. Peep the energies of how it levitates to lift.
Thanks very much. We are Gamelan Angklung Manakarum, and we hail from Missoula, Montana. Gamelan means it's a percussion orchestra. Angklung means it's a four-note percussion orchestra from Bali, Indonesia. And that is where all of these instruments were hand-carved and hand-forged in Bali, Indonesia. And Manakarum is a name given to us by our teacher on the night of a lunar eclipse, which is very auspicious in the Balinese kind of thinking. And Manakarum means a powerful force that gives you a good feeling, like a pleasant aroma. So we hope we can leave you with a good feeling after this performance. The piece we just played is about courage and strength and bravery. It's called the Baris Dance. And it's a very traditional Balinese piece of music. And we're going to continue with another traditional tune. Balinese are primarily Hindu, and the cremation ceremony is an important part of their culture. And this next piece is called Chapung Gantung. Chapungantung means hanging dragonfly, and it was originally played during those times of the cremation festivals and the liberation of the spirit. So listen for those hanging dragonflies, Chapungatung. Well, we're going to continue with a song called Pendet, and it's actually a dance of welcome song, music for that dance. And speaking of welcome, I'm very honored to perform with these wonderful people behind me. And we welcome new members. So if you're interested, if this has lit a fire for you and you would like to also join us in this kind of music making, please talk to anybody in the group and we'll put you in touch with us, and we'd love to have you join us. So Pendet is traditional at temple festivals where many guests are, as you are here today, many guests. And we are very honored to be one of those guests here with you today. So without further ado, Pendet. Well, I hope you're having a great time at the festival. It certainly is a lovely day. We couldn't have asked for a beautiful day, except maybe a little less smoke, maybe. But other than that, the temperature's not too hot, the sun is out, and there's a lovely breeze. So how awesome is that? Our next song is going to be called Putri Chening Ayu. And Putri Chening Ayu means my beautiful daughter. And it's a conversation between a mother and a daughter about shopping. And in the song, the mother says, daughter, I must go to the market because, you know, in Bali, only recently do they have refrigerators, so going to the market is an everyday occasion. So, daughter, I'm going to the market, and you must stay here and sort of manage things around the house while I'm gone. And the daughter says, oh, all right, I'll stay. I'm a good daughter. I'm your beautiful daughter, so I'll stay, but would you bring me back something when you come back? So this is Putri Chening Ayu, my beautiful daughter.
tree turning by you. Please stay while I go out to the market. I must go to feed my growing family, a shop, and then come home. I'll do as you request. I will stay and learn to sing. But please, when you come back to us, a gift to me you'll bring.
I'd like just to point out the Suling soloist. The Suling is the flute. This is Miss Aubrey. She's the youngest member of our group, and she is the beautiful daughter of the gong player. So we have one right in the audience, or in our players. It's been great to be here. We're going to finish up our set with the traditional, this is the end piece. So this signals that it's the end of our time with you here today. I hope you continue to enjoy the festival for the rest of the beautiful afternoon. Thanks again for having us. We're Gamelan Manakarum, and my name is Dorothy Morrison, and it's been a great pleasure. So thanks again, and this will be Gegelak.
symposium with representatives from all over the Americas, the Indigenous Land Council. And so Julie Cajune and Terry Tanner are so kind because instead of us having to go, they're going to give us a sense of what that was like. And we're very, very grateful and lucky that they are here to speak to us. And then Rinpoche is going to be coming up. So please stay. We have lots of music and such incredibly inspiring words. So thank you very much.
Well, I'll introduce Terry. Terry Tanner works for the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes Wildland Recreation Program with natural resources. So if you go up into the... How many of you have been up on one of the trails in the Mission Mountains? Oh, not very many people, a few. Okay, he has. Well, Terry and the folks in his department actually clear those trails for you. They also do a lot of other things. They clean up garbage. They make sure that all the recreational areas, that the tribe is very generous and sharing with everybody, are clean and available to everybody. So that's the work that Terry does. He actually started the Native Lands and Wilderness Council, and one of the purposes of that, the big intention is to bring an Indigenous voice to the mainstream conservation dialogue. There's a lot of talk about land ethic and land management and environmentalism, and Terry wanted to be sure that an Indigenous voice was there. People have been living sustainably on land for a long time, Indigenous communities, so they have some important knowledge and experience in how to do that and in ways of thinking about being in the world that are a little bit different. And so he actually started that. So do you want to say something about our past 2 days? What happened?
Well, the last 2 days was, we were very busy, to say the least. The first thing I want to say is welcome to our homeland. This is the homeland of the Upper Pend Oreille, the Salish, and the Kootenai people, and we welcome you here. You are our guest, and I just really want to open up a welcome to you today before we get started. And I really enjoy coming back to the Peace Festival every year. But what we were doing all week, well, we've been planning for this conference, the Native Lands and Wilderness Conference, for quite a while. We gathered some people from the north and the south, some friends of ours from up in the Northwest Territories, Victoria Island over in British Columbia, Northern California, and the Taos Pueblo people from down in Taos, New Mexico. We had a very special guest that we wanted to bring up here from the Brazilian Amazon. And he was the Kayapo leader of a tribe down there that's been, his name is Magaran, and we wanted to bring him up here to speak on behalf of the Brazilian rainforest is under attack, and they want to build a hydroelectric dam down there. And he's been fighting the Brazilian government about building that hydroelectric dam. And the Brazilian government wouldn't let him leave the country to come up to visit us. So I think I'm going to have to go down there and see him. So.
When Magaran applied for a visa to leave the country, there's a government entity that deals with indigenous people in Brazil, and that entity actually filed charges against him so that he was unable to get a visa. So we want to remember him today and remember that people in other countries pay a very high cost to be activists, and they pay a high cost to protect their homelands and to keep things wonderful And the rainforests, we're all sharing air, right? This isn't just our air, it's the air of the world, and we're sharing air. And so their work really affects us. And so they're trying to keep their forest intact, and people illegally cut timber all the time. And now the Belo Monte Dam, it's been off and on for a while on the Xingu River. And so I think it's back on, but Megaran has been an active protester of that, and many other indigenous people who live in that watershed, who it's going to have a dramatic impact. From what I read, it's going to be a very ineffective dam, that it's not going to be, the productive electricity really does not match the cost that will happen to that watershed. So I want to just encourage everybody to think about what they're doing. Is everybody registered to vote? Everybody registered to vote? Have you listened to the conventions? Have they been talking about land ethic? No. Even the Democrats need to be shaken up a little bit, don't they? I was talking with some college students, and I said, do you have a cause? And they said, well, not really. And they said, you guys had Gandhi and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. They were a little before my time. But there are a lot of young people don't feel like they have a cause. And Simon Ortiz was talking about living intentionally and deliberately. And we need to really put those words in our heart, that we live intentionally and deliberately. And global warming is the cause of all of us. If you feel like you do not have a cause, please take that on.
Yeah.
And so, come on, you guys, we got to get with it. I mean, there's a sense of urgency here. And while today we enjoy this really beautiful landscape, and we enjoy the clean air and the clean water of this place, it's in part due to the work of the tribes, trying to keep having a higher quality water standard than the state. We have to be vigilant. We have to speak out in our families, in our communities. We have to involve young people. It's so hard to change an older mind, but it's very easy to nurture a young one. And so we need to really bring young people along. They have energy and imagination and boldness to be involved in this work, and we all have to do something. Whatever your gift is, whether it's music, if it's writing, if it's speaking, if it's teaching, if it's art. Look at these beautiful peace panels that Bonnie made. I got to weave a little tiny bit. Everything we do, we have to do something. Everybody should do something. Because if we all decided, if everybody in the world decided to do something for the environment, we would be an exponential force for goodness. And so that's why I feel good about being here. I think that that's what this is about, that it's about thinking about goodness, about finding hope, about encouraging each other, encouraging each other's hearts, because we get discouraged when we work alone. When you think you're the only one who cares or who is doing something. And so we need to work together, and we need to do the hard work of working across difference, across geographic distance. And that's what Terry's work did in bringing all of these indigenous land managers together, bringing them across a great distance. And we encouraged each other and telling stories, listening to the stories. Stories can be transformative. They can be transformative in how we see the world, how we look at the world. But I just feel an urgency, and I don't want to be a vortex of doom. But I think there's an urgency that calls us to action now. Yeah. That calls us, we can't be lazy anymore. We've been kind of lazy, and I have 3 yayas, 3 grandsons. One is 2, one is 6, and one is 9. And then I think about what kind of world their children will have. And these little people that are running around here, these beautiful little people, what are we leaving to them? Because we're really borrowing this. And so we need to think about children and the unborn. That what are we leaving them?
You know that all of western Montana and on the other side of the mountains, even over in eastern Montana, is our Aboriginal territories, and our ancestors, our elders, they were the stewards before we were. You guys are very fortunate, everybody that lives here in Montana, you're very fortunate to be our guest, because we're the only tribe in the nation that has a nuclear-free zone, a declared nuclear-free zone.
Woohoo!
We're the only the tribe in the western United States that has air quality standards.
Northern Cheyenne does too.
Our Northern Cheyenne.
2 tribes in Montana. Woohoo!
2 tribes in Montana. So indigenous people, put their money their mouth where their money is, I guess.
Something like that.
Or something like that.
Something like that, huh?
But we've been stewards. Our ancestors have taught us. It's a generational responsibility that we take upon ourselves as indigenous people. So, with that said, it's really important to us. It's a really spiritual thing that we hold that dear to our hearts and intact about really protecting our environment. So, like I said last year, the biggest problem that I have when I'm cleaning up garbage after people that go out and use our lands, I just get really mad when people break glass on the ground, when I have to pick up broken glass. I wouldn't mind it if I had to pick up plastic all the time, but picking up broken glass just irks me. But that's just a personal thing. Go ahead.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And if you go on the river corridor, there's a lot of little tiny pieces of broken glass from people that use that beautiful river corridor and don't feel a sense of ownership or loving care for that place. So I just encourage you to talk to your neighbors and your family and to think about how you are stewarding young people into caring for this place, how we're working with state agencies or how we're politically active. It's tragic that the planet has been left out of the whole dialogue that's happening in an election year here. And we have such a privilege. We have such a privilege, right?
Yes,
and with that privilege, we have a responsibility. You have to take the other. If you don't exercise a responsibility, then the democracy that you live in becomes weak. And so while we can sit back and blame politicians, it's part of our responsibility. If we are not doing something, if we are not practicing the privilege and responsibility of being able to speak like this and say, where is, global warming in the political dialogue and rhetoric? It's being placed immediately in the context of economic development, and so people are brushing it aside. And they're using poverty to brush aside caring for the land. And so they're, the whole thing with the Otter Creek coal sale in Montana, Denise Juneau, I think, was the only one, the one Indian person on the board who voted against it. We went down and filmed in the Otter Creek area because that place will never look the same when they start taking all of that coal out of there. So there are things happening right here in Montana that we should be alarmed about, that we should be concerned about, and that we should be raising our voice about, whether it's writing a letter or calling Tester or doing something, saying, okay, I'm going to do one thing. If we think of one thing that we can do that's within our power and ability, and then we encourage somebody else also to do one thing. And then we do become that exponential force for goodness and for care. And our voice becomes really loud. We need to remember what happened in the 60s. Anybody here from that generation? Woohoo! Collective action. Have we forgot about it? We need to come together collectively because these are our common issues. You know, having a clean and healthy place for our children to live. And then we need to speak up for those people whose voices are silenced because we have this privilege. And so let's carry that responsibility in a good way.
The other thing that needs to be really addressed, and I said this last year, clean, cold water is just the most sacred thing that we have because we need clean, cold water to survive as human beings. We need to really get on board about this fracking that's going on in eastern Montana because the closer it gets to us, it's going to affect our aquifers over here in western Montana. And I sure don't want to drink laced water with oil, or tar sands oil. So we really need to think about that, and we need to really be proactive in protecting the watersheds in Montana.
So I want to thank Rinpoche and Georgia, Lama Tsomo, Chris Reby, Jacob, the members of this community who have interacted with us in such a wonderful, welcoming, and respectful way, for allowing a space for a tribal voice here every year. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and that is an encouragement to my heart. And so I thank you for that. And I thank you for coming to the Land Symposium and honoring the stories of those people by being there to listen. Georgia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so all of these things are just encouraging, and we see that we can collaborate and that we can work together and that our similarities are really greater than our differences and that those similarities are very powerful, and that's that common place where we can meet. And I want to thank Tsering for his lovely, beautiful singing for us today. And thank you, Deb, for all of your behind-the-scenes work. And Simon, thank you for coming back to our community.
Lemlem, Simon.
So Tsering is coming up. He's going to offer another song. Then Rinpoche is going to be speaking, so please stay. And I want to point out Transition Town. They have a table here, and this is what Julie's talking about. Transition Town is an international movement that is in Missoula, Montana. And what they're trying to do is mobilize people to live sustainably. And what they mean by sustainably is to have happiness. The less we have, the more happy people are. The studies show that. We can start sharing cars, we can start sharing lawnmowers, we can share many things. We can get off of our addictions. And so Transition Town is a beautiful group that is here. Please visit them. They work very, very hard to accomplish these things. They have a beautiful Transition Town handbook. Please read that. Here, hold that up. Come here. And they wanted to present Rinpoche with a copy of this. So this is an incredibly vital movement, and it has to happen now. So please visit our wonderful friends here, the Transition Town, who are working very hard. And then they're going to present Rinpoche with the Transition Town handbook. Thank you. Setting.
rinpoche야 지윤하러 나선 것도 Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sing one Tibetan classical song. It's called Nagma Amaleho. That's number 7 on the CD. Ya alani chatila tutulaka amola shotelani nga laniyata amale ya alani yes amale ewola tarila kama nihelami itu ola letala ko nelalevyo amale ya alanides amale ewola tarila jangan nelami itu ola letala ako nelalevyo amale ya alani yes let's rock. You tired? The next song that I want to share with you all is called Arok Kamba. Let me say something about this song. This is a song that someone wrote and left the melody and the music behind, and he passes away. In 1980 late 80s, the singer and the composer called Tsering. He was arrested by the Chinese communists, and he was tortured and so. But he left this melody to us, and he wants us to continue and to share this with you all. And for this song, I would like to welcome Rinpoche and Sarah to help whatever Rinpoche is going to say to translate it. Please welcome Rinpoche here, and I'm waiting. Ngade good day you Rinpoche ya chigunarona. Go worship you welcome Shushochi. While he's coming up, I want to mention one thing that I heard from Mr. Simon. He have mentioned something about akoma or something like that, but this, in Tibetan, we have 3 words saying a, ka, and ma. Akama is the 3 word that appears when the monks and the responsible person to look and find out who is the 14th Dalai Lama. They went to a lake and they found a ka ma. And I hope Rinpoche will explain more about this, and then I'm going to offer this song to all of you and Rinpoche And this is song from your region, Come.
Ini 다 아니 다다로드 ini 콩 아조 ini 다 롱바치과래 아조 감기 ini 다다 콩그 디 지스 다다 아조 땅야기 지에테 ini 아조 가라사이 감롱바키 ini 미세데 아조 다 감세는 미세다 샤초키 버 샤초크 드리체서 그래 드리체게 콩 이지 땅이니스 다다 콩은 레시에데 다다 ini 다다 자바름부치 ini 꼭다 공마테마 ini 공바존이 ini 다다데 ini 양식데 간데스진 건전 제거르스나 자 소직 나나 ini 소와답지네데 소되게 나나 다 딱든지 소데 나나데 혈거요래 어다 딘디치니 거서 ini 파덴라모고 소데 나나데니 가서야 리강니 되네 마즈도 값에 이게 솜 이게 첨보 솜아까 마생이 직 솜당 아니 암두가 롱바테 통발했어 에네 다티 아생인데 다 도메게 암도 생인데 까 생인데 양 롱바 되게 낭시게 꼼범 생인게 된데라 까스 에네 마 생인데 되네 자바름부치 코랑게 에네 첸데라 에네 충청도 메인라 라모 tsering 그래. 얘네 되게 롱대래서 어다 드네서 디 책대다 콩 뺀 라보도 송도 다다 드니 디 콩한테 희절 제송도.
Well, I'm from the same part of Tibet as he is. I'm from Kham. It's in eastern Tibet. So we're both from the same region. And right now, he's going to sing a song, and he asked me to sort of talk about the explanation of the song. So he's saying that in Tibetan, Akama is similar to Akoma, Simon Ortiz's name of the place where Simon Ortiz is from, Akoma. But to him, it sounded like Akama. And so the story goes that when the previous Dalai Lama passed away, the officials were searching for the Dalai Lama's reincarnation. And so they went to a special lake in Tibet, and they supplicated that they may see a vision, they may receive a sign. And they received two very special and important signs, one of which was that on the top of the mountain, Palden Lamo, a very important deity, appeared. And then in the lake itself, 3 huge syllables appeared. And they were A, Ka, and Ma. And so the officials interpreted the signs to try to lead, so that it would lead them to the incarnation of the 14th Dalai Lama. And the first syllable, the A, represented Amdo, the first letter of the word Amdo, which is a region in the eastern and northern part of Tibet. The Ka syllable is the letter given to a very high and important respected position. The Ma syllable or letter represented the 14th Dalai Lama's name when he was a small child. His name was Lamo Tsering. And so this was an explanation of the way that the Tibetan people found the 14th Dalai Lama.
Thank you.
Rinpoche, please come here. I know that he knows this song, so let's share with this Rinpoche. Round of applause, please. Rinpoche, please. Let's rock together. Well, I forgot to mention one thing. And I'm not making any stories, but this is true. I have a band in Dharamsala, India. And we named, and the name of the band is Akama. And you see, that's called the karma. You see, So now what we do, I only don't sing this kind of relaxation music, or what do you call the sacred music, but I do different kind of stuffs, you know. And this is kind of a contemporary modern Tibetan song that we have learned from the West. And I just simply called East meets West. So one thing I want to share, I got this soundtrack a day before I came here. I called my band down in Dharamsala, India, and then just recorded, because we don't keep any soundtracks. You know, like, so they just done it for this festival and to offer this song to Rinpoche, where we both are same, like we came from the same village actually, from Kyungbu Tengshin in Kham. So ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoy this song called Aro Khamba. And we are the Khambas of EWAM. Steve, that's number 6, I think. If something happened in between, I'm sorry for that, okay? But I'll try to adjust in between. Hope you guys will enjoy it. Come to my medu, come to my soya hilo, come to my domadu, you la so. Come to my domadu, you la so. Ya hilo, ya gado. Do sambetabu, o ngalame, hola choti, momolari, hola choti, momolari, yaharilo, yagado. Do sambetabu, ngalame, kola chuchu ni taburi, kola chuchu ni taburi, yaharilo, yagado. Yaharilo. Sidi buje ne chu go wa shapu ne cha sumse kanti sidi buje ne chu go wa shapu ne cha sumse. Baga sandore saka sato do cha mere saka sato do cha mere yarilo yando. Thank you. Okay, well, I'm on stage, so I want to sing one more song for you all. So Rinpoche, now relax. Take it easy. I want to share, I have so many songs, so I'm just figuring out what to do. Let's do it. Number 9. Oh, no, not number 9. Sorry. Maybe, let's see. What's your lucky number? 7. Sorry, we just did that. 8. Sure. Let's say 8. And this is a song that I sang for the movie Himalaya. And in French, they say la nuit. La nuit means the night, the darkness. Okay? La nuit. It's not really late night, but somehow it's late. And the father from this movie's character, he's going to search his boy and he's going to tell him that I need your help. So now you have to help me with the yaks. So he accepted. And so the old father, he went on his horse. And let's see what I did on that vision. How are you? Let's have a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Mani peme hum, homma homma. Om mani peme hum, homma homma. Om mani peme hum, hommani. Om mani peme hum, hommani peme hum, hommani. Om mani peme hum. 2, 3, and we down. Let's rock.
Thank you. I'll save a few more songs, okay? I might come on stage later. I want to take a deep breath and come back, okay? I think whatever happened right now, I have something. These are the traditionals, it's very old. And now it's saying that we need to take care, what the older generation have done for us. And they have always shown us a path that we should live happily and no more destruction. So whatever the destruction right now happened, so it's a lesson for us that we can fix this later and then make sure we will preserve this as an organic melody. Okay, this I want to share. Thanks.
Hola, so ini ta ini ngase me mambo ta di ini ngat so hian na so tani mixe ki ta de kongo mai kare kono tamu mi kele shengen de Simon ta konzo mixe ki ta tani nga so ini trap mixe ki de konzo mina tani kona ba ji ka kamol na so solo pe mese batani kabo chons ne pe mese batambo tuji che shugins.
So I'm really pleased to see everybody today, and I want to thank you all for coming. And I especially want to thank Simon Ortiz and the panel discussion we just had for the beautiful speeches you gave. Thank you so much.
네, 다 트렌드나 가란츠 에네 대 낭yin 에네 가츠 샤르초당 눕초당 에네 대 낭yin 다 베딩 가란츠고 에네 망보그지 럭스 드라멘라 에네 예당 에네 믹스금 롤모당 근데 에네 뭐망가라 토모녀도 망보양 근데 트렌 통ጆ 봐 까바 종서 베 미스바 지보 종스.
So like that, today we've had people from the East, people from the West giving talks in different traditions, different cultures. There have been music and that I've never seen before today, that today I had the opportunity to see for the first time, and it's been really fun.
네, 다 대낭yin 에네 가란츠고 베 차야나 가츠 쳬당 르용당 믹서게 다 가랑 쪽은 잠벌에 쩔패야 로드에서 얘는 가서 냠나 떠네 데스 제바이는 은이 팬토 쳐보도스.
And I think that it has extremely profound and great benefit for us all to gather together, for religions, different religions and different ways of thinking to gather together in order to improve the state of the world.
다 딘나니 믹서 트랭게 가란츠 에네 코요고 콜라 다 트랭 가란츠게 에네 창메키 에네 징아서 에네 토코르낭야 당스 되게 토라 데네 믹서게 지 에네 삼노동당 탑람망보지 에네 까낭송스 근데 대소배 데네 개침보시라도 가랑라야테 팬토보시라 정송스.
And then especially we've been speaking today about the environment and about ways to cleanse our environment, ways to think about the environment and methods that we should be engaging in. And that's what the speeches have been about, and I've received a lot of wonderful information and benefit from that.
ene 다 ngacho ene zambul ente ene yon rinpola ngacho de goguyores ngacho tsam mayempa ngacho marabta marab jiman namlaya ngacho zambul ente goguyores.
We need this earth to remain for a long time, not just for ourselves alone, but for future generations. We need the world to keep spinning for future generations.
ene 되게 토라 ene ngaso ge any samlo tonya de keche moshirare perna ta ngarang ge lo chu ngarang ge nanglo la tenen zambuleng ge judo pe shuk chembo hyuji ro yores tela samlo tangna te siji ngaso hyanang je goya ge nam te de dos hyanang je goya rawo je dos.
In my opinion and my way of seeing things, it's extremely important that we pay attention to the state of the world, and I'm a little bit frightened.
Tening page shugins pola ngarang gomba yosa ge diablote kangger kangri ores kangre te ngaso ni za chimbo shu jela zigo yore yang tela tening ngarang zo ene ta lo tongcha mangbo re jo kangre re tene tela mite so kora je cha che de je de sa ge rijre ina yang longten je ge nala tene khare oresena ritela 당고 이니 까르보 동라고 요레스 바르도 되니 차보 차차 즌라고지 차도 그래스 타마 마르보 상라고지 차가 요레스 다 데디 이니 땅가란 조페 되니 가선 잠불레는 냥가 차보고 니서라고 차그래서 롱내지 요레스 뭐마데 카레세고요로 tren가요스.
For example, where I'm from in Tibet, my monastery in Tibet, behind the monastery, there's a very sacred mountain. It's a glacial peak mountain, a snow mountain. And it's a very sacred site. It's a kind of mountain that people would come from far and wide to circumambulate. And it's covered in snow. And it's been covered in snow for thousands of years. But these days, what's happened is that first it looked white, and then in the middle it looked like a silty color, and then finally it turned red like copper. And I thought, wow, we're really in danger. This is a sign that the earth is really in danger. And I thought, what's going on?
디 롱덴데 처럼 고소 롱덴데
Alela.
데 롱덴데 당보 까르보
Lazo.
동 되네
Ale.
차보즈 타마 상생에 데 롱덴제 요레스
Actually-
이나양 네데 가르인 하 고금에 가르이나 된거요스 되네 다 가르시 차바레스나 제라 강르데 파제 되네 망보 휴제네 되네 차고차 빙상 강르 참아 휴송서도 다 참아 찍고 매바진 얘네 뭐만 미게 통고요 말에 강마도 이나야 나ang 사 말보르도 다 빙상 되네 참아 말보르 다 누가 떼스마도 다 강 매바 차버레스.
So the translator made a mistake. So actually the story is that it's a prophecy. The prophecy from a long time ago says that in the times of great danger in the earth, first the mountains will turn white, and then finally they'll be red, the color of copper. And when I used to read these prophecies, I didn't understand them. I thought, what is this talking about? But the mountain behind my monastery, they say, so there is red earth under the snow, but we've never seen it before. But now, these days, the snow has all melted and the mountain has turned red. That's what people are saying.
얘네 다 디타버티 가서 가르서 주체 가르치는 종고 그래서나 얘네 가서 빼나 얘네 거를 못 찍을 홍대한테는 되지도 드때 저거요 말에 뭐때 저러고요 그래서 단디 니서 그 점센 상모 땅바이나 다때 하람 가랑 저거지 뭐야 다 세절을 땡지나 하니 다 가랑 저거지 차도도 와서.
So there's this prophecy, and it's been given by Guru Rinpoche. It's a prophecy given by Guru Rinpoche. And if you think about it, it's not the time that has changed, it's the people that have changed. And it's based on the actions of people that this has taken place.
얘네 다티테니 가서 가르사 얘네 뭐 까모싱에서 그 송송 가서 되니 참마 템드리오레스 페르나 되니 가서 잠불랭텔 가서 트라침보스 페르나 다 버디 다 할람 잠불랭게 토슈기지 강른라고 차드 거서 다 샤르쪽 돈 히말라야 초티 페르나 자가르 자나 다 쌍고 망고 초망고 근중홍데 벌 톡되고 요레스 다 대다고 강르데서 참마 쉬어 최대 상마 감나 디 바바 찍고 말해스 다디 에시 이야기 빼나 롱바 망보라 다 다다 뜬다고 지 강르 상마 감나 빼나 다 뭔지 가서 추들이 매로하게 김선생이 싸워니 고지요 말에 리를 추세는 사는이야 바고요만 가서 롭중요 말아 추생이 사는이야 밥대고 여바 찍마도 추대서 강르대서 내가 여바당 깜로지 여바도 희고요 말했어 등상 강르 망보 휴 랑인 그 동바 망보 내 마토바지 추강가 까먹어버렸어 대 나기제니 추보 망치와데 깜바예나스 다다 자나따바 그래와다 자가르따바다 디기 버 강주기 초려봐 망보라 되니 냥카사고 차도고레스
So the previous speeches today have been talking about the fact that everything is interdependent and that we all have a great connection with each other. Everything's in relation with each other. As an example of that, Tibet is the highest place definitely in Asia, perhaps in the world. In the eastern region, the Himalayas are the highest mountains. And they're always covered in snow, and they're the water source for India, China, Tibet. And it's always been very clean water flowing down from these mountains. If these waters dry up, what's going to happen? All of the lower lands of Asia are going to dry up. And this is something we've never known previously. It's something we don't know much about. We have no experience thinking about the Himalayas drying up. For us, the way water comes from is it falls down from the sky, and then the water trickles down from the mountain. So these days, actually, it's changing, and the waters are drying, and there have been a lot of nomadic regions where the people no longer are able to stay. So what's going to happen to Tibet if the waters dry up? It will become like India, and then it's really a dangerous time.
야. 다 자가르 자나한테 다 되게 줄을 뺀 에시야가 다 자가 뺀 망고도와 다 상말을 뺏겨서 대 따보고 좀 망고바 추가 강해 용량으로 근데 저 차스 그래서
Not just, there are so many countries in Asia, India, China. Countries like these, so many countries are in danger of having all of their waters dry out.
다 대다가 가르사고 직 가서 다 허망 들어보지는데 리드서 가르사 다 정말 신나 차고 요래서 아니 다 미겐 동암대 차차 마오 팔에서는 갔던 거요 말했어 다 리데 강가 때는 가서 신나 참마 yar까 가르사 뭔가 제야 아니 신나 강가 르니마 아니 철어 초근 담나 야 yar까 초 예도 값었더니 가디던데 마고바더니 가르사 월 마고베서는 초근나니 신나데 강가 말 장네더니 자나라마 총바다서 그 말다 가서 초근나니 마 참마 월을 된다부지 차베를 다 캡상데 미 카시라라고요 그래서 총바다 다 신나데 매차데 아니 레팅 강가서 다버 리저브 장장도 왔어 아니 철로잡 초대 레티마타 사테 아니 철로잡 초대가 뒤에 따보 그 자나네 마 삼망고더니 참마 제말을 줘 된다고 그랬더니 배 제설이 아니 다 청요라지 차고요 그래서
Before, all of the mountains in Tibet were covered with trees. They were forested mountains. But then what started happening is people started cutting down the trees. And they weren't thinking about the future when they did that. So what happened is in the winter they would cut down the trees, and in the summer they would come with big trucks and log them away, carry them away, and put them also in the rivers. And this profit was only seen by a very few people. So what happens once the forests are gone from the mountain, so the mountains in Tibet are very steep, is the trees kept the earth on the mountains. So once the trees are gone from the mountains, the earth starts falling down. The earth starts falling down into the water, then all of the earth starts traveling to China, and then the earth in Tibet is becoming sand.
말이 야나노는 제마 차로.
Gyana, alela.
야나 탕을 봐.
That's
번이 충청된 거는 야나 탕송가 사망고 받았더니 제마 그 추천못 가나 근데 데려고 차로고요 그래서.
Actually, the land in China is becoming sand, silt, because the China is a plain, and so the earth is traveling down from the mountain into China, and all of the earth in China is becoming sand, silt.
야, 근데 성장 다 가서 빼듯이서는 니 서로 근데시 성장 빼나 다 된다고 직발해서 당에도 빼지 시해버려서 빼나 다 잠불랭기. 니 서로대 다 강제 파제돼서 담지 등상 그때는 남시가 강아 용한데 망치와 맥이 저저 차되고 요래서 맥이 저저 영상 다니 가서 맥이 탑실 때네 다니 강고 제약에 다 당가라서 빼더니 삼로 살바트 미드소야 고도치 그래와 얘는 가서 야 소토바지 제야 됐다 가서 랭게 첨보지 차되고 그랬어.
And I'm not talking about Tibet alone. I'm offering these examples, but it's the same all over this planet at the moment. It's the same all over the world. These changes in the planet, in the weather, they were created by people. And so the remedy is dependent on people. If people need to start thinking in a new way, and then people can improve the situation.
빼나 다 나랑서 나랑 딱 벌더니 뭐놈 지하고요. 이나 뭐놈 지하바티 찍고 팽하면 도스. 너네 내가 제고 그도서 가서다 잠불랭데 연도 땡야. 얘네 나랑서 빼트께서 다 빼니 대신 찍고 용야 되네 연도 땡야 뭐놈 지하고요. 얘네 뭐놈 찍고 다 팽하면 도스. 근데 선다 저 체바데 나랑서 그 밑에서라야 고도 빼르제. 얘네 다 가서 니 서로 때스 주도진 드림 코나막 송야도 빼면서 야구도스 강에서는 다 가서 랑hin기 고역들 송겹제야 랑hin데 야지라 땅야 어다 든데스 지 가서 초망고지는 야지 제토바이나 든 가서 얘네 잠불랭게 샵된 야슈데라샤.
So for example, I always make aspirations, I always pray, but it hasn't benefited that much. It's insufficient to pray alone. I actually have to act. So I make lots of prayers, I make lots of aspirations that this world may experience peace and everyone may be happy. But that hasn't benefited that much. So what's most important is that people, myself, we all actually improve the state of the world. Just like the previous speakers have said, if we do this, then naturally we'll begin to protect, to take care of the world. We'll be able to improve the situation. And if we do that, then that's actual service.
얘네 다 드랭아서 가서 얘네 음악에 송송아 스테리 지바레스 다 나랑서 그 사제 나츠 사제당 나츠 중한데 얘네 다 뺏겨서래 나랑서 그 얘네 제사당 나초 잠마세 다지 semgen 용조 대나이에네 다 뺏겨서래 싱나다 잘라서 받아본 너나다 쟁을 탐지 사제들 때는 거고요레스 사제 때양
So as people have already been saying today, the land and the elements, these are really important. They're the place we were born, but not only that, they're the home to all sentient beings, to everyone. The forests, the earth, all of the elements, the land, we rely on the land and the elements.
다 나저 그때니 다 용화돼 얘네 다다 나라서 그 애니 다다 등산단 용화 간가지 촉으로도 왔어 용화돼 촉으로도 가서 근데 다다 그서는 대는 가서 애니 용화 자를 랑서도 베나다 나저 그 베나 계서는 용화 자를 랑네 얘니 가르세 애니 차르쳐서 되서만 봐 되네 다 제서래 저행 담지 강가 감 되네 다 빼든 되네치 차고이나 되네 아주 밀라양 에너지 무게당 되네 초과당 되네 드라미라 땅 가서 가서 차 용고요래 되네 성장 ene ngazu ge rangjong ge khamte ene ngazu pe sungjop jeya de ene pe meseba kaichen bo shirares sungjop jeya.
It has been said that when the elements are in disharmony, when there's a lot of agitation in the elements, that the elements will rise up against us as enemies, and things will happen in an untimely way. The waters will dry out, and so forth. And these days, the elements are agitated. They are extremely imbalanced. And so what's most important is that we protect, that we nurture the elements, the earth.
다 ngaranzo nangbaege tene ngazo ta takpar tene pede kese namkha ta nyam bi semjen tamche dewada den donghara ta travel show se ta ngaranzo takpar yendo tene ngazo pene kese re zo ngaranzo ku chu gi zawa yendo re se takpar tene songo yores.
We Buddhists are always saying, may all beings as vast as the sky have happiness and be free from suffering. This is a prayer that we always recite. And we say that the root of all the Dharma, of all Buddhism, is altruism, the wish to benefit others.
제장 다 ngazo 개치 휴대 데려샤스. ngaranzo ene ngazo tene 랑 직북 ene 다 ngaranzo 삼로데 마당과 제제니 ene semjen tamche 양 yen다 배는 ngazo 무럽 예마당 무럽 예마돼서 다 대소를 ngaranzo 고 배는 계속 저 지슈드더니 다 ngazo네 삼로 땅와이나 ene 디기지 ngazo ene 팬토그레스.
I think this is what's most important. I think it's most important that we don't think only for ourselves, but that we engage in beneficial actions for all sentient beings, for others. So, for example, not just for ourselves, but for future generations, and for future generations from that. And I think that if we're able to think about that, to think about what's most important, it will really benefit.
ene 다 ngaranzo go pena ene ngaran chipo go teni mato ta karsa khepsang kare ran samlo tangbaina tama ngaran rangge teni chi ngaso ene ta pecha yana ene pogodang ene ngaso maomba deso tamje gayang ene chi sodenrabo ene mebashi charo kore.
In contrast, if I only think for myself alone, then even if I receive some kind of benefit, what will happen to my children? It will remove the opportunities for the future.
근데 손상 ene ngaranzo go mixer gi tata ngaranzo go teni train bed kesa ngaso songban na ge ngaso debtang ene tena ge pena teni ngaso chabra tang ene tendes chiada mixer gi yonji te so tamjela ene tetabo go chi ngaso lopso ya go tre thobayina 대양 개침보지 차고요를 삼도스.
So just like that, I think that as people have been saying today, like just as people have been describing it, there are books written about this. There are like things on the internet and so forth that we can read. And I think that if we study these ways of thinking and these methods, that's also really important.
얘네 망보제 되나? 얘네 지금 와서 얘네 야 얘네 대체야 탑시 여러 왔어. 던데스 제지는 다 나랑 저거 배 지금 와서 얘네 초용이 와서 누바데 지금 야 뽕바이나 갈래 드네 배치서 주도 땅 투그래 상거도스.
And that's a way of correcting the fact that a lot of people don't know about the situations going on, don't know about it. So if we study and gather together, then we can change what's going on. So just the regular people and the government together, if more and more people kind of join in a new way of thinking, then we have a shot at actually improving things. And I think we have the capacity to really change what's going on.
믹서기 때문에 나랑 저거 다 코리오그 토라베 돈항 첨부 정인데 너미 그 머릭 소리를 샤스 너미 머릭 민닝바 너미 그 머릭 배차게는 다 가서 아메리카네에 안다 다 나랑 소베 치 너미 머릭 속 ene rang ying ge nga so karase na khoryog da pe cha ge na baba de son ra wa ina nga so rit so rang ying ge hlan ra wala zigere ni ra wala zigere pe tresene ta 2000 merek de so ge tene chi nga so ene pe meseba ta chi nga so ene ji중 jenge de yakhu res yakhu je re kase ta tengsan da du kapso der de nga so 2000 merek ge samno dang ene deso tamje pe ti nga so loju da lokso de so sungkyop nangya de heda kache bodo cherang namba tada te ini ta pet kese ini tada ari ge tada ko so demi mere tamje ge di thola mixer tene thukor pe mesib nang do nga pe mesib gabo chongso ini ngarang ya ta te so longba desa de ngone norm do samgen ro chi gawa che ge dos.
The indigenous peoples of the earth are naturally think about the environment. They naturally pay attention to the environment. So for example, the indigenous people of America, American Indians, also the Tibetans. For example, the Tibetans, we naturally see all mountains as gods. We naturally see all mountains as sacred places, pilgrimage places. So I think the indigenous peoples of the earth are the best keepers of the kind of way to improve. And so I think it's extremely important to protect the indigenous cultures and the indigenous traditions. And so we've had indigenous speakers come here today, and I've really appreciated listening to them. And I'm really happy that we can share this place.
Hora te tabu ga nga so tene ryong tang ta nga so samno cha chembo de so tamche nga so ya manyam kongpar che ya de zu nang ge likya de so lene tingsang ge ta ji tingsang ge ta zambolen perji ge to ga dang ya len chek do ya tene nga so kongpar tang ya kongpar tang che ni nga so tene per che se zambolen la ene pen to yak ene tene sik ta yong yak ene manam jaguyos rewa cheguyos.
And I pray, I make the aspiration that the profound understanding and education going on here doesn't decline, but increases ever more. And that we can actually improve and kind of increase the positivity of the world spontaneously, and that it can happen more and more. This is my prayer.
ene Java Rinpoche ge yang yang de song do ta ta ngarang zo go pena ene ta khoryog ni son de tingsang zada ge ni chores zada zada bo nye ta ju nyen kha ju ba ge ta zada sene ta pe ge se ene kale kale chelong me ba kale kale che me ba zada ro.
The Dalai Lama actually always talks about this. The Dalai Lama says again and again that the environment is in kind of extreme danger of disappearing or.
Oh yeah. Ene tende sonza ene nga chu ge ene yang Java Rinpoche ge takbar song dos lama dang Tulku dang tene ta chi ngarang su pe na Mila pa chijel denge na kawala denge na ya ta chi dreva yosa de so tamje ni inji meni ta nga chu diga kola kecha che go dos diga kola tene chi nga godo per go dos ene tene se kalop nang dos.
And the Dalai Lama tells us, kind of religious leaders, the lamas and the tulkus, that wherever we live, wherever we go, if we live in foreign countries or whoever we have a connection with, we should talk about the environment. He gives us this advice, this instruction.
Oh yeah, tende sonza ta train tene nga chu tena pe chesere ene ta nga chu ta train tena pe me mangpo chi nyam nan zom tigi ni so la ngarang choyang ene mangpo chi ene 시도 토바종 파르야 텔레타 ngaso revanro tonji chungba de sheda gabo chong ene mixer ge ta ba tade nangge evangeli je tamje ene te nangge ta ngaranso yapjur nangge chama lola tene nge tuji cheshugo yes.
So I'm really pleased that so many people came here in the spirit of creating peace and to share in our vision, to share in our wish. And particularly, I wish to thank the organizers of EWAM. And so to everyone here today, I really say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, please welcome Tahj and Rain. They're going to do some poetry and some music for you, so please enjoy.
So happy to be here today, sharing the spirit of peace with so many wonderful speakers, so much wisdom in this beautiful place, in these beautiful mountains, filled with such a great spirit. So it goes. I will blow my nose when it runs or is stuffed. Whenever it keeps me from breathing in this seething spunk, that long-lost junk and decay, left on the wind to reflect, relay back to us what's been past. Typically we move so fast, can't see or know where we're going. The ocean's flowing and we'll ride these waves into our graves, few learning nowadays that it's life that saves. Instead, we trample and pave the field and forest, rivers and oceans, a sacred creation that we've been blessed with. And I want to address this. Too much time has passed, so many years that we've turned our backs away, employed pollution and decay, enforced corruption and allowed this destruction to grow and fuel a society that is selfish and cruel. Higher men holding tools to control a lower, when people are people. It has been spoken and now written that in an age to come with the rising sun, the children that are born will eat the corn, open their eyes and realize that the earth is sacred. So prophets have faded, they will see the life and know it is right to defend it. And though the future is open-ended, an age of change is upon us. Are you ready to ride this bus? I dream of building it with my own two hands, traveling to faraway lands, no beginning or end. There's always another bend I never noticed. Sometimes it seems like a long trip, but it's invigorating. Imagination, stargazing, contemplation, being busy building a foundation of trust and learning, wisdom and growing trees, unity. I have to feed this need to overcome the burning sun of consumer proportions. Chemical madness cannot heal my sadness, only leave me dependent, numb and droning, chilled and empty. Thank goodness that's not me. Thank you all for being here. Blessed be.
Proclaim your citizenship to the imagination. The imagination stretched to Mother Earth, deep within her roots, to Father Sky in the four directions. The Tunga Iahokshina sits at home, waiting for his father return, with the water, with the sustenance to keep his people fed, to keep his people free. From the path to Dharmasala, to the roads of Tibet, to Burmese generals making decision, compassion for all, compassion for people, sentient beings, seen and unseen, seen and unseen. Proclaim your citizenship to the imagination. As the Hopi said, let go of the banks of the water and go with the flow. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Where the eagle feather meets the condor feather high above the mountaintops. Where Bolivia just made a stand against the Coca-Cola company and said no more economic injustices in our country. No more. Indigenous people rise. Indigenous people rise. And must I remember, and must I tell my people also, people of my complexion and of my skin color, that we are further along the colonial assimilation route, for we have indigenous roots ourselves too. Celtic people, four corners, directions, rise, Mother Earth, times, growth. Mastermind like checkmate, peep the angles to see how they interrelate. And when I got the feeling, I open up the floodgate, go with the flow, channeling those tracks of fate. I peep my energies and what I placed on my plate, watching time, conscious of a brother being late. Time ticks in the pocket, bass riffs in the kick. Peep the energies and how it levitates to lift. Tweak the lens, the bends, perceptual shifts. Cross current convergence of mystery steadily mid. It's that red rock rhythm that hit him right between the eyes. A battle to the death, eye against eye. So what you gonna do with that well run dry? Third eye blind, sting like a bee, fly like a butterfly in the unknown. With my headphones on, I make my mark. Graffiti, pictograph art, Flint mapping the tools, art creating a spark. I paint a picture with my mind's eye, capsulate the mental, perceive with awareness when I'm approaching the sentinel. Open up the mainframe, time for the download. Fly so high, head in the clouds, grounded with Mother Earth and feeling the sounds. We're gonna fly so high, head in the clouds, grounded with Mother Earth and feeling the sounds. Open up, hold on, discover what's inside. For the torture chambers inside. I'm from the ancient glacial lake, open land treasure state. I'm from the zoo with 3 rivers merged to one. West of the Pacific where the salmon start to run. Raven sands the crystal, creating stars and sun. Embrace the unknown, the great mystery reps for. Yeah, we motivate from Glacier Lake to Beacon Hill. Got more ambition and skills to do more than just pay the bills. Our backs were aching from steady bringing home the bacon. Had to stop, reevaluate the situation. No more shaking and baking, no time wasted. Yes, we hustle with intention and it's all for the taking. What I need, nothing more, nothing less. Abundance comfortable to keep me at my fitted best. What I see, I believe to manifest. Strategy up in my moves like the game of chess. Warrior energy, preparing for the test. Impeccability to let it roll up off my chest. Flowing like a creek to a river in the northwest. Time to chill, regroup and take a rest. Decompress to take another flight up out the nest. Gonna fly so high, head head in the clouds, grounded with Mother Earth and feeling the sounds. We're gonna fly so high, head in the clouds, grounded with Mother Earth and feeling the sounds. We're gonna fly, take courage and sight, and soar through the air like a golden eagle in flight. Open up to yourself, open up to the mind, and sit with the thoughts within and sip within. For personal change comes conscious evolution, conscious revolution to peace with self, peace within manifest. We're gonna fly so high, we're gonna touch the sky. Oh yeah. We're gonna fly so high, we're gonna touch the sky. Thank you, my name is Tahj. I got 2 more songs here for you. Is it sequentially playing? A metaphor for dancing. A metaphor for dancing when you dance with the political systems as the people that rise up. Yes, bananas, either in a club or cabana. Bodies in the building, high heat like Louisiana hot sauce. Make you jump like crisscross, tantalize the senses. Euphoric endorphins, the beat is like morphine. Melodies are pouring out the speakers. Sweatshop sneakers, everyone's in the bleachers. Everyone's up in the crowd, moving and shaking and getting loud. SoundCloud, rock the rhythm, blow the whistle so trained. No half-stepping, representing the boom and the click. The rhyme in the pocket, the hip-hop made a way drop suddenly. It's elementary, the relevancy. Check my melody, my relevate, my pedigree. It's in the way we flip and rock the beat steadily. And it's the passion that we put up in the recipe. For it's the people party, people energy. The mission, the movement, the movement, the mission, the mission, the movement. Peace, movement, the mission, the movement, the movement, the mission, the mission, the movement, the peace, yeah. Fire, fire, open up your soul. Fire, fire, open up the flames, glow. Fire, fire, open up the soul. Fire, fire, let the flames burn and grow. Fire, fire, loosen up the body now. Fire, fire, open up the soul now. Fire, fire, open up the soul. Fire, fire, let the flames burn and grow. A DJ turn it up and make it real loud, move the crowd. My people wanna hit that 9 crowd. Let the rhythm hit them, let the rhythm hit them. Fill them to the brim, keep them moving and sweating like they was at the gym. It's out of sight, party people to the left and right. Shaking the tail, feather deep into the night. Yeah, my people represent to the extent to keep the party pushing till all the energy's spent. Until the lights are turned on and it's time to go home. But we ain't thinking about the right now, we up in the zone. It's the 808 generation, boombox and hip-hop, electronic non-stop, take it to the spot. Nostalgia in the air from all the energy drop. Anticipation of the DJ, what next will be dropped. Fire, fire, loosen up the body now. Fire, higher, let the flame burn and grow. Fire, fire, open up the soul. Higher, higher, make the movement grow. Fire, fire, open up the soul. Fire, higher, move the rhythm and let go. Fire, fire, open up the soul. Fire, fire, build the movement, make it grow. Open up the soul, open up the light. The DJ spinning, people on the dance floor, bored to the rhythm. Celebrate the times and the life that you're given. Feeling all around, yes, the energy is driven. If you're tense, breathe to the rhythm. Dance floor goes with the flow of the rhythm. 808 punch from the woofer was a given. Loosen up the body, you flow with the rhythm. And party, people, party to the mission. Party to the mission now. And party to the peace, and party to the mission. Like them leaders in the past, like them leaders and my people with the mission. John Lennon, he spoke for truth and the peace, and my peace for the truth in the east and the east. East and the west for the peace. And peace for my people in the street. Oh yeah. Let loose now, shake your caboose. Let loose now, shake your caboose. Let loose now, shake Sonora. Oh, not what that sad that boy snake and oh, not come up from the sky. Oki sana dapi, exu kapi, nisto natanako keksana okatok. Rocket boosters blast through the atmosphere. Ground control, I feel we got a problem here. The gravitational pole is taking its toll. The point of no return. Yes, I feel we spinning out of control. Spread the message, peace, we are one. As we take another journey around the sun. Hip a corner pocket, let me drop it. Pushing through the stratosphere. Afterburner boost from the rocket. Basic kick, drop it. Rhythm rocket, I got the energy flowing from the source. Can't stop it. Open up the heart, electronic spark. 808, activate, illuminate the dark. To stop the violence, to break the silence, to start to stand up, to wake up, to know each other. It takes a tribe to raise a child. Sister to brother, we people of this earth. How long must we suffer? Open up the mind, open up the heart. It's about that time. Open up the heart and mind. That's not what you shot the platform. I said now open up the heart, open up the mind, open up the eye. It's about that time. Oh yeah, it's about that time. 2012, conscious evolution, no time for snoozing. Knowledge, power, galactical revolution. People choosing, seeking solutions, looking past illusions, smoke a mere illusions, seeking for delusion. The wizard is exposed, the emperor is closed, the truth has arose, so set the captives free. Third to the fifth with the shift, open up the eye to see the full beauty. Oh yes, baby, now I cry. Cry for the people around the world. And cry for Mother Earth, to cry, but keep these energies building and building on the planet. Open up the heart and the mind will follow. Open up the heart and mind and the eye will follow. Open up to all the wonders in the world. Open up expansion, energy swirl. Within an ascendancy planted in the earth. Spinning on the garden planet with so much worth. The mystery written in the stars, our history. Embrace the greatness. Yo, I see so much as far as transformation. Rise up for humanity and represent your nation. No longer will we be afflicted by the fear. Evolution of our species is evidently clear. Time has come for change. That we walk the earth from birth through the changes of season, breathing and seeking the powers of one as we take another journey around the sun. To stop the violence, to break the silence, to start to stand up, to wake up, to know each other. It takes a tribe to raise a child. Sister to brother, we children of the earth. How long must we suffer? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I also got to put the eyes on the air just to keep my open eyes, but keep my eyes open. It seems like people in this world and people in the east, yes, the people in the west, all they want is just peace. And peace for my brother, and peace for my sister, and peace for the little ones that I support the Israel, and peace for the wicked. So everything be changed. And if they had the mission, yes, I think they would like change. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Why you go to the capital? People open up your eyes and open up your nose and open up to the sky and the ones above.
Thank you. Lemnash. Sukabi.
Diri tape tambali ini markunyam du sayurelo Diri nishi chita mahi benyam tu narona Diri nishi chita mahi benyam